Fat Joe cannot just shut the F up. So y'all remember months ago where Fat Joe went on Math Hoffa's podcast, started saying all these things about Black Americans. Oh, they broke, they dusty. He wanted to believe so desperately that Black people and Puerto Ricans created hip hop 50-50, or no, obviously hip hop was created by Black people. I mean, I'll let Grandmaster Caz speak on it.
Directly that much in the early days of hip hop. They one or two. One or two. My partner, Disco Wiz, my first DJ partner in hip hop, he used to beat up people in the street for telling them, why you hanging with them niggas? Why you hanging with Moreno?
Well, he was what, Puerto Rican?
He was Puerto Rican, half Cuban.
All right, so that was back then. Now we got Fat Joe, foot and mouth once again. He's starting a podcast with Jadakiss. Salute Jadakiss. Let's see what he has to say.
What's gonna make the difference with the Joe and Jada podcast?
Authenticity. You know what I mean? It got to be an organic conversation, right? We can't ride the wave of what's going on out here.
We can't ride the wave of what's going on out here. Meanwhile, you're doing what everyone else is doing, which is starting a podcast. So you already are starting by riding the wave of what everyone else is doing. But salute to Jadakiss. We don't want to go in on Kiss. We going in on Joe.
You know what I mean? This ain't that, and that ain't this.
That ain't this.
It's cracking Kiss.
Oh, see, my thing is when you talk about, damn, that's one right there. You know, when you talk about hip hop podcasts, see, I can't salute you if you didn't go and did a show and the promoter beat you for your second half of your money, or you went to a show, the promoter don't want to pay you.
If you haven't been through the farm league of what it takes.
Listen, you can't be sitting up here dissecting the albums, and that's the fucking problem we have with rap.
So Fat Joe, again, this is a guy who sounds smart only to somebody dumb. You can't dissect albums, critique and review albums, unless you have gone and done a show and been ripped off by a promoter. Essentially what Fat Joe is saying is, if you are not a rapper by profession, we don't want to hear you critique and dissect an album, which is obviously foolish. The skills that you have being a performer in rap, it has very little to do with the ability to dissect an album, create the video, and then relay it to your audience. They are two totally different skill sets. So to say you need, in order to have one, you need the other, it doesn't even make sense. It's different skill sets.
Since the beginning, since the source mics and all this shit, it's like, yo, you ain't even played a game. You see, the reason why we love TNT so much with Chuck and Shaq, these are legends. They played the game. They know the ins and outs. When it comes to Jada and Joe, like, we've been fucked over, we done won, we done had moments, we done had anthems. We know the game. We done got beat by the promoters. You ain't really been real unless they sick pit bulls on you when you try to get your second half of money.
So according to Fat Joe, in order to be a hip hop podcaster, even talk about hip hop in the media space, you need to have had pit bulls sicked on you for the back end of your show money. I don't think I need to keep explaining how dumb this logic is. We're going to continue to let Fat Joe cook.
Oh, you got to beat up.
And we're not saying cook because he's fat. We're not saying fat phobic things, you know.
Promoter and take the money in quarters. You know what I'm saying? Or you get kidnapped in Africa. We need our money, right? We need our money. So I'm going to take
my money and I need it now.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to get my... So when I see these certain guys commenting, never had a hit record, never had an album, never... I'll be like...
So according to Fat Joe, in order, he don't want to hear you commenting on hip hop unless you had a hit record, unless you put out an album. See me, I just want to know what you know about hip hop. If you don't know shit about hip hop, you ain't heard the classic records, you ain't tried to study hip hop, you ain't tried to go to different decades and listen to these albums or try to get a feel for the time. If you ain't done like some legwork, then I don't want to hear your opinion, right? So we all have our threshold, but Fat Joe's threshold is, yo, if you ain't had a hit record, if you ain't had been kidnapped in Africa over shows and stuff like this, I mean, it's just foolish to me because, again, these are two different talent and skill sets we're talking about. But it's Fat Joe. You know, we're not listening to, you know, Mark Lamont Hill or like Cornel West or a thought leader.
To me, they're not qualified. You know,
when they put these mics in front of people, they lose some people just get caught in a moment and say dumb shit. You know what I mean? And it happens to the best of us. But
But I'm
in time,
saying,
in due time, it'll all come to the light.
All right, so I could easily say this, right? I would just bust down this entire thing they talking about logically, right? Jadakiss just said, yo, they get to putting these mics in front of people's face and da-da-da-da. First of all, the whole mics in front of people's face, you can't say that like as like a way to talk down on people who do that when you got a mic just sitting in your face right now. Y'all are turning to our space. So Joe, the same way you say, yo, I don't really appreciate people who ain't had a hit record talking about hip hop, who ain't done a show and had to fight for show money talking about hip hop. I could easily say, well, what do you know about podcasting? What do you know about putting out media? If you ain't ever put out hip hop media, just to use, ignorant, because this is what, folks do. You gonna use ignorant logic. Yo, Fat Joe, if you ain't never written an article for a hip hop media site, I don't want to see you do no hip hop media. I don't even want to see you on a podcast if you ain't done legwork and you ain't written articles. If you wasn't outside in the blog era, I don't want to hear you talking about blog era artists or rap or anything else like that. On this very show, there is a segment, and I'm highlighting it right here on the video for those watching in the car, they can't see. Fat Joe and Jadakiss is talking about the Knicks comeback and Jokic being the MVP. If you ain't played basketball, if you wasn't a professional in the league, if you ain't never had to, play the Raptors and go through customs on the way there and on the way back as an NBA player, I don't want to hear you talking about the NBA. You see how stupid this sounds? But again, these are not thought leaders. This is Fat Joe. He's saying anything. And furthermore, Fat Joe, you're in our space now. You're in the hip hop media space. So someone could easily come to you and say, you're not qualified. You're not qualified to even, it don't matter what you're talking about on your podcast. You're not even qualified to do this. What chops do you have in hip hop media? Come on, man. And you talking about hip hop, Fat Joe, do you even write your rhymes? How many of your rhymes did you actually write? Shout out to them people who wrote your rhymes. Shout them out. We want to know more about that backstory. So anyway, we ain't gonna go too hard. But yeah, Fat Joe, man. It's Fat Joe. Like I said, it's not Mark Lamont Hill. It's not Cornell West. It's not, it's Fat Joe. So what do y'all think about this? Let me know in the comments. Fat Joe, he cannot STF you, man. It's crazy. We gonna farm a lot of clips on this podcast. So we gonna farm this. Top5rapwebsite.com. Peace.